Welcome back to the Bricken Coop series. In the last video, we built the roof. And in this video, we're gonna build a door,
Yes.
tie up some loose ends, and build a set of nesting boxes.
Been raining all night and all day. And it looks like the chicken coop is staying dry. They're all cooped up in the little coop. You can't even see the dark ones. There's some black ones in there. All right, everybody out. Let's start by building a rough jam. So I'm just going to take some treated 2x material and put one board on this side and one board on this side. And these are both scrap that I didn't have to pay for. I'm going to do this one left-handed just so y'all can watch the blade. That one fits nicely, but this one has a bow in it. I picked these up at Harbor Freight about 15 years ago. Keep that board off the ground and hopefully slow rot. So I have these spacks. They say they're deck screws, but they're stainless steel, and they actually have this kind of rough, jagged texture that'll work as masonry screws as long as they're strong enough that I don't strip out the heads. And I've got this really tiny masonry bit. We're going to pre-drill with the masonry bit, try to go into the mortar and not the brick, and then screw those in. We'll see how it does. Let's go for this joint right here. Okay, I think I've hit masonry, so I'm going to switch over to hammer. Let's see if one of those screws works. Oh wow, I think that's going to work. Even countersunk itself there. All right. These are where I should be most concerned because this is where it's tight. I'm going to put a couple pretty close proximity down here. I'm just going to leave this in hammer drill for now and see how it does. Perfect. The moment of truth. When we undo that clamp, we'll see if that board bows out and pulls our screws out. Yay! Nice and solid. After a while of the humidity going up and down, this board will eventually shape itself with this brick wall and not have a bunch of tension left on it. Now we're ready to build a door. It's actually going to be a little trickier than I thought. There is a bow in the brick here. So right here in the middle, it kind of bows out this way, which means my door will actually have to be shaped in this kind of crescent shape. 30 3/8 right there, 30 1/2, 30 and almost 3/4. So we need to take the widest measurement because we can always trim it down after we build the door. So what I say, 30 3/4. We're going to go ahead and take 1/4 off that so that we'll have an 1/8 inch to work with on each side. So 30 1/2. I think I found what I can use for the door. So this is all wood that I cut out from some cabinetry that was over here from when I just installed a new electrical service. And this is like stout stuff. That's like 5/4, I think it's called. And that is a full inch. It's almost the size of the opening. It's tall enough, but it's a little narrow. So I'm actually going to just rip it down into individual boards that I'm going to use to build a frame, and we'll make kind of a screen door with it. Alright, we'll do the sides first. They need to be 64 1/4 long, so we'll go ahead and square one end and then cut it to the other end. The top and bottom need to be 30 1/2 inches wide, but that includes the stiles, so we're going to have to subtract the width of the stiles. So we need to cut a couple of pieces 22 3/4. Okay, let's take this inside and pocket hole it on a nice flat surface. Something is not exactly square. You can see this corner is lined up nicely and this corner is lined up nicely. And then we line this one up nicely. And when we do, it leaves a big gap in this one. So I'm going to put all these on the miter saw and just nick the edges of them just to make sure they're square. Oh, I think I see what the problem is. I think this has a wave in it. This table is pretty flat, so I'm going to lay it down and look at the edge. That edge looks okay. Kind of swinging there. I'm guessing this has been scalloped. Alright, to keep this door from sagging, we need to put like a cross member in it. Make, you know, what it looks like the Z. Laid it underneath crosswise. Center it in the door here. I want it to be very exact, so I'm going to use my utility knife and score it. Make sure we get this right. So this will be A, B, and B. So especially since all that paint was on there, that makes a nice defined line. So I'll just cut those out on both sides and this should fit in there. Now we'll just put some glue and some pocket holes in that. Probably I'll just drip off before I got the other side done. Alright, the frame is done. I know, but what does the other side look like, right? Voila. Now we need to take it outside and scribe it to the door jamb in the chicken coop. Okay, what I'm actually going to do is go inside and take my pencil and trace everywhere it bumps the door jamb. So we'll basically shape the door exactly like the door jamb. But first I need to shim it up from the bottom, just to make sure it doesn't scrub when we close it. Now I'll just follow that line and test fit and tweak if needed. Alright. Now just in case this old blue stuff is lead paint, I'm going to take a belt sander to it and then prime it up. I've painted one side with some old spray paint and I have kilsed this side. Well, let's put some hardware cloth on this to keep the critters out and the chickens in. Hopefully this is enough. Alright. Got some poultry net staples, and I like to use a framing hammer with a waffle head so it doesn't slip off of these, because this waffle head helps you steer the staples into place. These are stainless steel screws. Now before I mark for the hinges on the door itself, I'm gonna shim the door in place so it's exactly where I want it to go, so it has a gap on all sides so it opens and closes easily and doesn't snag on the bottom or the top. Before we do the rest, let's make sure that works. Yes. Perfect. Good to go. Now, so this door doesn't just swing on through, we need to put some door stop along here. I think if we just rip a 3/8 inch wide piece of this treated 2x4, that'll make a good doorstop. Might have to find a longer piece though. I think I'm going to use this untreated stuff instead. Keep as much of that treated stuff away from the chickens as possible. Also, I'm tired of torturing that little battery powered Makita, so we're going to get out the worm drive. This blade is actually also missing several carbide teeth. I use it to cut up junk wood to dispose of. I do think we need to deal with a couple of things. This right here. Oh, these dogs are so annoying. They just come out here and bark whenever anybody's out here. So I know we need to fill this in right here with some hardware cloth, because raccoons can scale that wall and climb right in there. And I'm wondering about this space right here. I mean, it's only like an inch, but if something got their head in there, they could push through because that's flexible. So if anything tries to crawl in there, it's going to bite it. The problem with leaving them turned in is it might be able to slip through and not notice it, but then tries to pull out and it gets stuck. And I'd rather it decide not to go in than go in and have a hard time getting out. You know, the chicken hungry creatures out there. I forgot, I actually meant to do this from the inside and then mortar. Well, you'll see. So this little nesting box is sort of a prototype. We need to build another one. It's just exactly a foot deep and it fits perfectly in this little wired shelf under here. So that locks in place there. I'm just going to do another identical one and probably put some slats through like is over here and just suspend it below this one. So I just have some scrap here I found in the attic. 1 by 8 7/8. 1 by 12, which is actually 11 1/4. I think this is another 1 by 12. Then I got this right here, which I ripped down yesterday, which is about 3 1/4 inches. This whole thing's going to be based around this because it's 36 1/2 inches long. And the nesting box, well, the width of the brick inside the chicken coop is 38 inches, a little more than 38 inches. So 36 1/2, we're going to add 3/4 inch sides to it, would be another 1 1/2 inches. That would be 38 inches. Since this is already cut, we'll just mark everything else to go along with it. It's going to be pretty simple, cobbled together really quick. Just making a bunch of quick cuts, and there is going to be a dado in the middle where we're going to slide a divider so that the nesting box will actually be 2 nesting boxes. Start by squaring up this. This will be the back, this will be the front, and this will be the bottom. Unfortunate, but like I said, it's just scrap. It's just cobbled together. No big deal. Make sure this is the same length. Now let's cut the bottom. I'm going to use the same one. Make sure we're getting it right. I'm going to take the line because obviously when you make a mark with your pencil, it leaves a little space in there, like 1/16 or so. So to make all the boards even, we're going to have to take that line and a hair to that side of it. Maybe do this one a little better. Perfect. Bottom, got the back, got the front. Now we need to do a dado in all of these for our divider. We're using 1/2 inch plywood, so we'll just make 1/2 inch marks. So if these are 36.5, then 18.25 would be the center. Right there. Make sure this is lined up. Right there. There's a center line. There's a center line. You can see I'm just putting a 1/2 inch anywhere on here and marking both edges of the 1/2 inch. I'm going to set the depth of my saw to about 1/4 inch. That looks good. I'm not recommending anybody does this, but I'm going to pin up the guard because it hangs when doing shallow cuts like this if there's something underneath it. And I'm going to use my right angle to get these outside lines perfectly straight, and then I'll just freehand and cut out all the guts in the middle. Use this pencil. Hold that open. Yeah. I'm just going to wedge that pencil there. Like I said, I'm not recommending this. This is actually totally against every recommendation and against all the instructions in the manuals to these things. It says never ever hold your guard up. But you'll find times when doing carpentry that it just works better. But those times you have to be very vigilant, because I could accidentally touch back here and do something not very good. Yes, I made a couple of nicks in this. I gotta be careful not to set the saw down like this. There we go, pull that out. So that was the hard part. We can look at it again. Let's go ahead and nail this up. Now this is what you call a 2.5 inch coil nailer. And this thing just works great for just little projects like this. It shoots a nice traditional nail with a ring shank galvanized here for outdoor stuff. And it's basically like old box nails, you know, where you used to just cobble stuff together. But this way you can shoot them quick with the gun. We'll put one nail in it and flip it and see what it looks like. Right there. See if we're still lined up. That'll work. Time to reload. Had one blow through. Yeah, a couple. There we go. Some sides. Great. All right. Now I just need to make the divider. Going to measure from the outside of the dado to the outside of the dado. 10.25 inches. It already has a little round edge right here, so that'll be nice on the front. 10.25. Oh, I forgot to make up for that depth, but that's fine. Nesting box done. Now let's see how we're going to hang this thing. Let's see how far we have to go all the way through there. So at least, let's say 47 inches. First let's cut this about 47 inches. just going to freehand rip this in half. This one right here. That's not right. So here's what I've done. I have ripped a little taper in it so that hopefully we come in here. We really need to go back here. That's where we need to be. Right there. So that'll be the bottom. So that will be here and here. That's split, but that's plenty sturdy. Let's hope the measurements were right. Ooh, for a second there I thought that wasn't going to work. All right. And that locks it all in place. Let's fill it with some shavings. All right. So now we've got some double-decker nesting boxes. And the perches on this side. 2 lower perches and 1 upper perch. And we of course can put as many perches as we want in here. With all these holes in this basket weave pattern. And with that, it's just planes all day around here. And with that, we're going to call the chicken coop done. If you learned something or enjoyed this, please consider hitting that like button. And please comment with any advice or suggestions. All out of scrap brick and lumber that came from a house that used to be right over there.
As always, thanks for watching, and I hope to see y'all in the next one.
Somebody's broody. Good job, girls.